The following is tape number 5 on the Nectar of Devotion series, given by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, recorded between October 20th and November 14th, 1972, in Vrindavan, India.
Jnainis, they say Brahma Sattva Jagan Mithya. This world is false. There is no enjoyment, actual enjoyment to merge into the existence of Brahma. So that is also a subtle sense enjoyment. Leave this world and enter into Brahma, then you feel happy. So that is also sense enjoyment. Similarly, yogis, they also want power, material power. Anima, Lakhima, Siddhi, Asta Siddhi. So, if you have some power, you can fly in the air, you can walk over the water, you can get anything you desire immediately. These are Yoga Siddhi. So that is also satisfying own sense gratification. So, except bhakti, everything is for sense gratification. That is unfavorable. Krishna does not want to satisfy anyone's sense. That is not Krishna's business. Krishna is the supreme. He wants everyone should serve him. He is not going to serve anyone. That is Krishna's position. Therefore, anyone who serves Krishna and preaches this philosophy to serve Krishna, that is favorable. Anukullena Krishna Anusilanam. Go on.
Generally, people are engaged in different activities to get the material profit. While most philosophers are engaged in proposing transcendental realization through volumes of word jugglery and speculation. Pure devotional service must always be free from such fruitive activities and philosophical speculations. One has to learn Krishna consciousness or pure devotional service.
Yes, Jnana Karma Dhanavritam. Pure devotional service should be uncovered by the motive of Nidbhed Brahmanusandhana. The motive of karma and motive of jnana. That is pure devotional service. No motive. Annavilasata sunnam jnana karma dhanam. Anukullena Krishna anusilanam. Simply to do things which Krishna wants to do. That is bhakti. That is pure bhakti. One.
One has to learn Krishna consciousness and pure devotional service from the authorities by spontaneous loving service.
Spontaneous. This service should be spontaneous, not forced. Just like a father loves his son spontaneously, a young man likes to love a young girl spontaneously. So bhakti should be like that. As soon as one hears the name of Krishna, immediately, spontaneously, he should be ready to serve him. That is pure devotion. Not that force. In the beginning, we have to force that you rise early in the morning. There is Mangalarati. You have to perform it. But when this function will be done spontaneously, this is the time to offer Mangalarati to my Lord. That is wanted. That is wanted. Not that it is a heavy burden to rise early in the morning and to offer Mangalarati. That is not spontaneous. But one has to act under the direction of spiritual master and shastra, which is called vidhi bhakti, regulative devotional service. So after one being trained in regulative devotional service, he comes to the platform of spontaneous service. We have got an example in this connection. Formerly, there was child marriage boys and girls were married at the age of 10 years, 12 years. So, at that time, there was no practically love. But the guardians, they induced the girl to go and offer her husband some eatables, to give her some service. In this way, that was just like regulated. But when they actually come in the platform of attraction, there is no need of direction. So, this spontaneous love, when spontaneously we shall serve Krishna, without any obligation, without any force, that is required. Spontaneous love, raga marga. One.
This devotional service is a sort of cultivation. It is not simply inaction for people who like to be inactive or devote their time to silent meditation. There are many different methods for people who want this, but cultivation of Krishna consciousness is different. The particular word used by Srila Rupa Goswami in this connection is anushilana, or cultivation by following the predecessor teachers or acharyas. As soon as we say cultivation, we must refer to activity. Without activity, consciousness alone cannot help us.
Yes. People say that inactivity, silence, that is perfection. But no, in bhakti, cultivation, there is no such thing, silence. All is active. The same example can be given. That Arjuna became devotee not by silence, but by being active. Activity, spontaneous activity. I have to do this. My Lord will be pleased, so I have to do this. Activity. But if I have no idea what is Lord, what does He want, how He is pleased, if we do not know all these things, naturally there will be no activity. But one who knows what is this law, what does He want, what is my relationship with Him, then there is activity. So actually, that bhakti is not silence. Bhakti is activity. Just like, personally, up to 70 years, I was practically doing nothing. But at the age of 70 years, by the grace of God, Krishna, there was inspiration. I went to a Western country, not to sit down there silent. So bhakti, the path of bhakti, is not inactivity. Actual activity begins when one is situated on devotional service. It is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. When one is Brahma Bhuta, self-realized, he is Prasannatma, joyful, Anandamaya. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, na sochati na kankati. He has no desire to fulfill, neither he has lamentation. Here in the material world, we hanker after things which we do not possess. I want this, I want that. And we cry when the thing is lost. Na sochati. But a Brahma Bhuta, when one is self-realized, when one knows that he is not this body, his spirit soul, he is part and parcel of Brahma, at that time he becomes joyful. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sojati na kan. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu, and he sees everyone on the equal footing, because Brahma realized, he knows everyone is not this body, his spirit soul, part and parcel of Supreme Brahma. This position, when one comes to this position, Brahma Bhuta state, Mad Bhakti Labate Para, that is the stage to be promoted to the Brahma activity. The Nidvishesh, impersonalists, they want to stop activity. But actually, Bhagavan, Krishna says that real activity begins when one is self-realized, one is situated in Brahma realization. Brahma realization does not mean to stop. Brahma realization means to act for Krishna, not for sense gratification. That is Brahma realization. Mad bhakti lavate param. And in that bhakti stage, bhaktya mam abhijanati javan jasyami tattva. Actually, simply by executing devotional service, being freed from all material contamination, when one is engaged in devotional service, bhakti, that process, bhakti process, can help one to understand what is God. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. It is not said that by karma mam abhijanati. No. Jnanena mam abhijanati. Abhijanati. Tattata. If one wants to know God in truth, then he must take to devotional service. And this devotional service, actual devotional service, begins when one is Brahma realized. So, one may argue, does it mean that all the bhaktas we see, they are not even educated? How he has realized Brahma? That answer is given in the Bhagavad Gita. That Malchabhya vicharini bhakti yogena ja sevate sagunan samatitaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. This very platform of serving Krishna, of Vyabhicharini, without any adulteration, means without any motive. When one is engaged in Krishna's service without any motive, not that I establish a deity in the temple with a motive that people will come, will give money, and I shall make it a path of earning my livelihood. That is not devotion. Devotion is without any motive. Annavilasitasun. So, without any motive, when one is engaged in devotional service, that is Brahma-bhuta state. That is liberated state. According to Bhagavad, liberation, mukti means to be situated in one's constitutional position. That is called mukti. Mukti hitya annatha rupam sarupena avasti. Hitya annatha rup. Now, because we are designated, we have got this body designation, therefore, we are situated in different positions. Somebody is working for his family. Somebody is working for his community. Somebody is working for his nation. But this is annatha rupam. This is depending on the bodily designation. I am American, I am Indian. Therefore I must sacrifice everything for my country, for my nation. This is annatha rupam. And when we engage ourselves that I am Krishna's part and parcel, Krishna is my master, I am his eternal servant, I must work for Krishna. That is mukti. That is liberation. So anyone who is working for spreading Krishna consciousness, he has no other motive than to satisfy Krishna. He has no other motive than to satisfy the representative of Krishna. Therefore they are hitya annatha rupa. These European American boys, they are working for Krishna. It is practical. They are not working for their community, country or nation. Neither Krishna is their God, according to common understanding. In the dictionary it is said Krishna is Hindu God. But they are not working for Hindu God. They are working for Krishna. Krishna says that sarvajonishu kaunteya sambhavanti murtaya tasang mahajjani brahma aham bijapida. They have understood this philosophy. The Krishna is neither Indian nor Hindu or this or that. Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is Father of everyone. They have understood in this spirit. Therefore they are working for Krishna without any motive. This is practical. Not only Europe and everywhere. Everywhere. All over the world. Why? Because Krishna consciousness is there in everybody. Nitya Siddha Krishna Bhakti. This devotional service of Krishna is dormant in everyone. It has to be awakened. That's all. Savanadi Shuddha Chitte Karayuda. Simply by hearing. Sannathang Sakata Krishna Punna Savana Kirtana. If you simply hear Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, from the representative of Krishna, that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, directed Bhagavat Parogiya Bhagavata Sthan. One should hear about Bhagavat from the devotee. There are two kinds of Bhagavat, the book Bhagavata and the person Bhagavat. So we have to relish the Srimad Bhagavatam, the contents of Srimad Bhagavatam from a devotee who is self-realized. Then it will be very nice. Satang prasangat mama bija sangvida bhavanti ritkarna rasayana katha. When you hear about Krishna from a Krishna devotee, it becomes very pleasing to the ear and the heart. Ritkarna rasayana katha. Therefore, to become Krishna conscious, to become a devotee of Krishna, tad vijnanatham sa gurumeva vigachet, tad vidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya. This is the process. So, this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is the science of devotional service. If one wants to become a devotee of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when you speak of Krishna, Krishna means all Vishnu forms. All Vishnu forms. Ramadi Murti Sukala Niyamena Tishthan Nana Avataram Akarat Bhuvani Sukintu Krishna Sayang Samabhavat Paramapumanj. All incarnations, they are also Krishna, expansion of Krishna. But Krishna, this personality of God Krishna, he is the Supreme Person. Ishara Parama Krishna. So these things are explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, as they are in the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. The summary, the juice of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, devotional service, is given in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. We have translated this book as Nectar of Devotion, and you will be pleased to hear that in some of the universities in USA, this book has been recommended as study book in the religious class. They are now reading regularly. So we shall stop now if you die.
May be divided into two classes. One class may be for achieving a certain goal, and the other may be for avoiding some unfavorable circumstance. In Sanskrit, these activities are called pravritti and nivritti, positive and negative action. There are many examples of negative action. For example, a diseased person has to be cautious and take medicine in order to avoid some unfavorable illness. Those who are cultivating spiritual life and executing devotional service are always engaged in activity. Such activity can be performed with the mind or with the body or with the mind. Thinking, feeling, and willing are all activities of the mind, and when we will to do something, the activity comes to be manifest by the gross bodily senses. Thus, in our mental activities, we should always try to think of Krishna and try to plan how to please Him, following in the footsteps of the great Acharyas and the personal spiritual master. There are activities of the body, activities of the different senses, and activities of speech. A Krishna-conscious person engages his words in preaching the glories of the Lord. This is called kirtana. And by his mind, a Krishna-conscious person always thinks of the activities of the Lord as he is speaking on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, or engaging in his various pastimes at Vrindavan with his devotees. In this way, one can always think of the activities and pastimes of the Lord. This is the mental culture of Krishna consciousness.
So, Krishna consciousness is not inactivity. This we have discussed yesterday. Actually, the activity is being influenced by the soul, but it is being expressed through intelligence, mind and body. The activities are coming from the spiritual platform, but because it is now contaminated by the material coverings, these activities are not very adjusted. Diseased activities. The thinking, feeling and willing. This thinking, feeling and willing is now polluted on account of material coverings. Therefore, we have to revert to the thinking, feeling and willing by Krishna consciousness. As it is explained here, that we shall always think of Krishna's activities. We shall always feel for satisfying Krishna, and we shall always will to enact as he desires. The same feeling, Nidbande Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagam Uchyat. Srila Rupa Goswami has given us two formulas how to become Krishna conscious or how to remain in Krishna consciousness. So one formula is that anasaktasya visayana jatharaham upajunjata. You should not be attached to the visayas. It's like we have got a tendency to construct a skyscraper building, as in your country you do. So, you should not be attached to the skyscraper building, but you can utilize the tendency by constructing a big temple like skyscraper for Krishna. In this way, you have to purify your material activities. Actually, in pure Krishna consciousness, there is nothing material. I have several times explained, material activities means activities without Krishna consciousness. That is material activity. Just like we are speaking through this microphone, we do not reject it as material. We take it as spiritual because it is being used in spreading Krishna consciousness. Anasaktasya visaya jatharam upajanya. Jatha arhati, as it deserves, because this microphone is made of material elements, earth, water, fire, air. But this, if we remember that these material energies, earth, water, air, fire, sky, even mind, intelligence, ego, prakriti mein bhinna astada. They are also energies of Krishna. They are not separate from Krishna. Therefore, if Krishna is spirit, then these so-called material elements, they are also spirit. but it is used as material because we do not remember the relationship of these material elements with Krishna. Therefore, the conclusion is, when we are forgetful of Krishna, then it is material. Otherwise, there is nothing as material. Everything is spiritual. Because Brahmana Shakti, it is described in the Vishnu Purana. Ekodesha sthita shagne jyosna vistarina jatha sarvedam Brahmana Shakti. I just don't remember the full verse. So everything, this is Shakti Parinamba. Shakti Parinamba. Everything, Sarvam Khaluidam Brahma, everything that we experience, that is manifestation of the energy of Krishna. Sarvedam Akilam Jagat. Brahmana Shakti. Shakti and Shaktiman, they are not different. So if we accept everything as expansion of Brahmana Shakti, energy of Krishna, and utilize it for Krishna, then there is nothing such thing as material. Everything becomes spiritual. So, if we think in that way, thinking, feeling and willing, if we utilize our psychological activities in Krishna consciousness, then we keep steady attached with Krishna. Yukta vairagam uchyat. Vairagam means renunciation. We do not require to renounce anything, provided we see everything dovetailed in Krishna consciousness. That is required. Gone.
Similarly, we can offer many services with our bodily activities, but all such activities must be in relationship with Krishna. This relationship is established by connecting oneself with the bona fide spiritual master, who is the direct representative of Krishna in disciplic succession. Therefore, the execution of Krishna consciousness activities with the body should be directed by the spiritual master and then performed with faith.
Yes. We should not manufacture in our own way that this is Krishna's activity. It must be confirmed by the spiritual master. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has explained in his comment on Bhagavad Gita in connection with the verse Vyavasatmika buddhi rekeha kurunanda. Vyavasatmika buddhi, Nischyatmika buddhi. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that whatever order I get from my spiritual master, that is my life and soul. I must execute it thoroughly, without caring for my personal convenience or inconvenience. That is called Vyavasatmika buddhi, Eka. We cannot manufacture anything as Krishna conscious activities, but we must be ready always to carry out the order of spiritual master, who is representative of Krishna. Sakshat haritvena samasta shastrai. The spiritual master is recognized as a bona fide representative of Krishna, Sakshat haritvena. Therefore, he should be offered respect as good as to Krishna, and jasya prasadad bhagavat prasad. And if we can please our spiritual master, then we please Krishna. Just somebody says that Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago, he is no longer present, then how we shall execute Krishna's order? Krishna's order can be executed by executing the order of the spiritual master. Jasya prasadat bhagavat prasad. We cannot disobey. Jasya prasadat nagati kuto. This is the process. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it has been very extensively explained what is the position of the spiritual master. But at the same time, the spiritual master does not accept himself as he is God or Krishna, like the Maharaj. No. The bona fide spiritual master always thinks of himself as the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. Gopi bhattu padakamalu dasu dasanu das. Not that because my disciple accepts me as good as Krishna, and because my disciples offer me respect, exactly he offers respect to Krishna, that does not mean I am Krishna. I am servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. This is the position. Go on.
The connection with the spiritual master is called initiation. From the date of initiation by the spiritual master, the connection between Krishna and a person cultivating Krishna consciousness is established. Without initiation by a bona fide spiritual master, the actual connection with Krishna consciousness is never performed.
Yes. We must connect with the current. Just like you have fitted your room, electrical wires, but if you do not touch it with the current going on, the simply electrical fitting will not help you. Similarly, initiation is essential. Adu Gurvasam, Srila Rupa Goswami recommends in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, for executing proper spiritual life, one must take shelter of the bona fide spiritual master. Tasmad gurum prapaddeta jigyasu sreya uttamam. Person who is actually interested in uttamam. Uttamam means transcendental. Udgata pamam. After darkness. This material world is darkness. Tamasi ma jyotirgama. The spiritual world is full of light. Therefore, anything spiritual, that is called uttamam. Then Krishna's another name is Uttama Sloka. Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naisthiki. Krishna does not belong to this material world. Only the fools understand. They think of Krishna having material body. Avajananti mangamudha manusim tanuasita. Krishna is always in his spiritual body, Satchidananda Vigraha. Ishara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. Similarly, if we establish our bona fide relationship with the spiritual master, representative of Krishna, immediately our connection with Krishna becomes established. One.
The cultivation of Krishna consciousness is not material. The Lord has generally three energies, namely the external energy, the internal energy, and the marginal energy. The living entities are called marginal energy, and the material cosmic manifestation is the action of the external or material energy. Then
Parasya Shakti Vividayasiyate, the Supreme Absolute Truth, Personality of Godhead, has got innumerable multi-energy. Out of that, learned scholars, devotees, they have divided the whole energy into three: external, internal and marginal. So, the living entities, they are production of the marginal energy. The living entity is energy, Prakriti, not the Purusha. Purusha is Krishna. We are all Prakritis, all living entities. Prakriti means predominated, and Purusha means predominator. Just like we see ordinarily, husband and wife, the husband is predominator and the wife is predominated. Although there is no difference between husband and wife, they are one, divided into two. Similarly, Prakriti and Purush, they are one. They are not two. It is explained by Swarup Damodar, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikiti Alladini Shakti Rasma Ekatmanavapi Pura Deho Bhedo Gatoto. Radha Krishna, they are one. But although they are one, they bifurcated themselves as Radha and Krishna. So there is no difference between Radha and Krishna. Radha is a superior energy or spiritual energy, and Krishna is the energy. Similarly, this material world is external energy. Similarly, the living entities, they are marginal energy between the external and internal energy. The living entities are called marginal energy because the living energy has to act under another energy, that either material energy or spiritual energy. So, when the living entity is under spiritual energy, that is his normal condition. And when he is under the material energy, that is his abnormal condition. We should always remember, material energy means forgetfulness of Krishna. Just like in this material world, everything is there, but it is lacking in Krishna consciousness. You travel all over the world, you will see there is profuse arrangement of sense gratification, but there is no arrangement for understanding Krishna. This is called material energy. But if you bring in Krishna in the so-called material energy, it becomes spiritual energy. Therefore, this Krishna consciousness movement is awakened that spiritual energy of the living entity. Mahatmanastu mang partha daivi prakriti masti. The Mahatma and Duratma. What is the difference? The difference is the Duratma is under the influence of external energy. Bohirarthamanina. Nati vidu shartha gating Vishnu durasayaji bohirarthaman. When we are too much engrossed with the concept of bodily life, I am this body, I am American, I am Indian, I am Brahman and Kshatri. When we are influenced by the bodily concept of life, that is called material energy. And when we are influenced by the spiritual energy, we always think that I am the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. Gopi bhattu padakamale udasudasa naham vipra nachanarapati. I am neither Brahmin or Kshatriya or Vaishya Shudra or Sannyasi or Brahmachari. This is a verse given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He denies any material designation. And he informs us also, Jive Sarup or Nitya Krishna Das, when we feel actually that I am eternal servant of Krishna, that is our liberation. Nitya Annatha Rupam Sarupena Avasti. This is Sarup. When you are existing as servant of Krishna, then you are mukta, liberated. You haven't got to endeavor separately for becoming free or liberated. One.
Then there is the spiritual world, which is a manifestation of the internal energy. The living entities who are called marginal energy perform material activities when acting under the inferior external energy. And when they engage in activities under the internal spiritual energy, their activities are called Krishna conscious. This means that those who are great souls or great devotees do not act under the spell of material energy, but act instead under the protection of the spiritual energy.
They do not act under the influence. Ordinary person, they see the devotees are acting like us. No. Their activities are under the influence of spiritual energy. It looks similar like the Karmis, Gyanis, but Bhaktas are different from Karmis and Gyanis. Jnana karmad anabditam. They are not influenced by the tenets of jnana and karma. They are influenced by activities which can satisfy Krishna. Anukullena Krishna anusilanam. Anusilanam, activities, culture. Anukullena Krishna anusilanam. So they are simply engaged in Krishna activities, although it looks similar to the ordinary activities. Therefore they misunderstand. Just like Arjuna. Arjuna is fighting, and another soldier is fighting the other side. But Arjuna's activities as soldier is devotional service, because he is trying to please Krishna. Other side, they are fighting for their own interest, how to become victorious and take up the kingdom. That is their idea. Here, Arjuna, he did not like to fight. But when he understood that Krishna deserves this fighting, he engaged in. Therefore, his fighting was to satisfy Krishna, not to satisfy his senses. As it is explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. To satisfy one's own senses, that is called kam. And to satisfy the senses of Krishna, that is called prem. This is the difference. Go on.
Any activities done in devotional service or in Krishna consciousness are directly under the control of spiritual energy. In other words, energy is a sort of strength, and this strength can be spiritual.
This is spiritual energy. Just like Arjuna is fighting. That energy is inspired by Krishna. So Arjuna took it. I must fight. Krishna wants it. I must satisfy Krishna. This is spiritual energy. Just see. The other party, they are also fighting in the same energy. But they have no Krishna consciousness. So, to act in Krishna consciousness is nothing wonderful. Simply, you have to divert the energy for Krishna. This is Krishna consciousness. Everyone has got energy, but when it is enacted for one's sense gratification, that is material. And when it is enacted for the satisfaction of Krishna, that is spiritual. Try to understand the difference between material and spiritual. Go on.
In other words, energy is a sort of strength, and this strength can be spiritualized by the mercy of both the bona fide spiritual master and Krishna.
Guru Krishna Kripaya Paya Bhakti Lata Bij. We have to acquire this energy through the mercy of Guru and Krishna. So Krishna is within as Chaitya Guru, and when we are serious, he comes out as a spiritual master. Sikha Guru, Dikha Guru. So there is no difference between Sikha Guru and Dikha Guru and Krishna. Krishna manifests himself externally as Sikha Guru and Dikha Guru.
By Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami. Lord Chaitanya states that it is a fortunate person who comes in contact with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. One who is serious about spiritual life is given by Krishna the intelligence to come in contact with a bona fide spiritual master. And then, by the grace of the spiritual master, one becomes advanced in Krishna consciousness.
Yes, this is the statement in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. এই রূপে ব্রহ্মাণ্ড ভ্রমিতে কোন ভাগ্যবান জীব গুরু কৃষ্ণ কৃপায় পায় ভক্তিলতা বীজ. We are wandering in different species of life, in different planets. ব্রহ্মাণ্ড ভ্রমিত. কোন ভাগ্যবান জীব. Not all. Fortunate. One must be very much fortunate to come in contact with Krishna and Guru. So, how that fortune becomes possible? This is called Ajnata Sukriti. Sukriti and Duskriti, these two words are used in Bhagavad Gita. Namang Duskriti nam mudha prabadante narad. There is the word Duskriti and Sukriti. Chaturdida bhajante mam Sukriti na arjun. So this Sukriti, this fortune, there is a chance which is called Ajnata Sukriti. Ajnata Sukriti means just like Krishna's representative is preaching all over the world. And if somebody comes in contact with that representative of Krishna and satisfies him, he acquires some Ajnata Sukriti. This is called Ajnata Sukriti. He does not know what spiritual benefit he is achieving by serving the representative of Krishna. He does not know, but he acquires it imperceptibly. This is called Ajnata Sukriti. So when Ajnata Sukriti is accumulated, then he becomes fortunate. That is called Kono Bhagwanji. Just like Shukadeva Goswami is describing about the cowherd boy who are playing with Krishna. Ikhang Brahma Sukhanuvritya Dasangatanang Paradaivatena Maya Sitanang Naradarukena Sadhang Vijarahu Kitapunna Punya. Kitapunna Punya. These boys who are playing with Krishna as cowherd boys, they are not ordinary boys. Sukadeva Goswami says. They are Kritapunna Punya. For many, many lives, they accumulated their pious activities, and thus, now they have got the association of Krishna to play with. Kritapunna Punya. Similarly, these Ajnata Sukriti, when they are accumulated, just like you deposit in the bank 4 annas, 2 annas, in this way, one day it becomes 100 rupees. Similarly, this Ajnata Sukriti, when they are accumulated, that makes the fortune of a person to associate with Guru and Krishna. এই রূপে ব্রহ্মাণ্ড ভ্রমিতে কোন ভাগ্যবান গুরু কৃষ্ণ কৃপায় পায় ভক্তিলতা বীজ মালি হইয়া সেই বীজ করে রোপণ শ্রবণ কীর্তন জলে করে. So, beej means seed. Bhaktilata seed. Bhakti is compared just like a creeper. The creeper does not stand alone. It embraces another tree and then it grows. Similarly, Bhaktilata, Bhakti always embraces the lotus feet of Krishna and then grows. Therefore it is called Bhaktilata. So Bhaktilata Bij, if one is fortunate by accumulating this imperceptible good activities by association with devotee, then he gets this Bhaktilata Bij, the seed of Bhaktilata. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends Mali hoiya sei bij karo ropa. Just like you get some nice seed of rose flower. So if you sow it on the ground, just becoming a nice gardener, and pour water, then it gradually grows. So we have to take the Bhaktilata Bij from the bona fide spiritual master and sow it within the heart. Tajjusanat asu apavartavatmani saddha bhakti ranuktami. And pour water, just like simply sowing the seed is not, your business is finished. You have to sow, you have to pour water. So, what is that pouring water? Mali hoiya sei bij karaye ropan, savana kirtan jale karaye. This is the watering. Hearing about Krishna, chanting about Krishna. So, take the Bhaktilata Bij from the spiritual master, that is called initiation, and develop it by pouring water of hearing and chant. Then it will grow. One day it will grow so big that it will penetrate the walls of this universe. It will go to the spiritual world and gradually go to the Goloka Vrindavan and catch up the lotus feet of Krishna and then produce its fruits, and you'll enjoy by eating the fish. Go on. What is time? All right. Hare Krishna.
21. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Das Kaviraj Goswami, Lord Chaitanya states that it is a fortunate person who comes in contact with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. One who is serious about spiritual life is given by Krishna the intelligence to come in contact with a bona fide spiritual master.
Yes. Here it is stated, it is a fortunate person, not the unfortunate. It is the fortunate person who comes in contact with a bona fide spiritual master. This question we were just discussing before coming to the class. How to select a bona fide spiritual master. So, that is not very difficult. Just like in our ordinary business life, we accept somebody as representative of the firm who is actually canvassing for the benefit of the firm. He is representing. Suppose he is representing some bookseller, publisher, say he should canvass for selling the books published by his firm, not for anything else. Suppose he has taken the advantage of becoming representative of a business firm, but he is doing his own business. He is not bona fide. He is not bona fide. So, real Guru is Krishna. Krishna, aham eva asam agre. Krishna existed before the creation. Then, he made his representative Brahma. Tini Brahma Vida Adi Kavai. He instructed the original Guru, Brahma, because there was no other living creature except Brahma in the beginning of creation, and he instructed Brahma, Tini Brahma Vida Adi Kavai. There are other versions in the Vedas that he instructed Brahma. So therefore, the original Guru is Krishna. The same Guru, Krishna, is instructing Arjuna also. Krishna became Guru of Arjuna. Arjuna accepted him Guru. Shishyasteham. Arjuna said, now I am not talking with you as friends, but I accept you as my Guru. Therefore, by Shastri conclusion, Krishna is the original Guru. Who can deny it? Krishna is Jagat Guru. He is Guru of everyone, because everyone accepting the authority of Guru Krishna, anyone accepting the authority of Bhagavad Gita, he is accepting imperceptibly Krishna as Guru. Therefore, bona fide spiritual master means who is representing Krishna. Who can deny it? So, to find out a bona fide spiritual master is not very difficult job. Because if one is representing Guru Krishna, then he must speak of Krishna, canvas for Krishna. What do you think, Vishanji? So that is bona fide Guru. Where is the difficulty to find out a bona fide Guru? Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Jare dakho tare kaho Krishna upadesh. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that you preach the words of Krishna. Therefore he is bona fide. Similarly, anyone who is representing Krishna and canvassing for Krishna, he is bona fide. What is the difficulty? Is there any difficulty? Anyone can understand that if Krishna is the original Guru, and if somebody is canvassing for Krishna, he is bona fide. If somebody is canvassing for himself, he is not bona fide Guru. So there is no difficulty to find out a bona fide Guru, provided I am serious to find out a bona fide Guru. But if I want something else, because Viddantasta Vadrani, if in my heart there is something else, then I must be cheated by somebody else who is not a bona fide Guru. Jijathamang prapaddante tang sathaiva bhajama. So, to find out a bona fide Guru, spiritual master, is not very difficult. It is very easy. Krishna says explicitly, Evam parampara praptam imam rajasayo vidu. This knowledge, Vedic knowledge, is received by parampara system